What our young people want is they want truth, and they're not going to get it in the news or social media or from our governments, but you find the truth in Jesus.
There's still a real hunger to find hope, to find answers to the questions that people are carrying. There's something inside of them that's still like there has to be something more.
So great to have you both here. Can you imagine it's taken us to come all the way to Berlin for the European Congress on Evangelism when we live so close to each other in England and Ireland? So tell us who you are and a little bit about your ministry.
Sure, it's my wife, Amanda. We're both involved in a ministry called Crown Jesus Ministries. So we're getting used to the Belfast accent. That's C-R-O-W-N, not crying Jesus. Like we would have a ministry called Crying Jesus. So Crown Jesus. We were established in May 1999 in Germany. We're in Germany today, and that's actually where it all started for us. We've been doing evangelism in Ireland ever since, north and south. We have a team of 16 staff right now, and probably about 30 volunteers, and we work across kids, youth, adults. So when it comes to evangelism, we kind of say if there's a way to do it ethically, we probably do it. So that's puppets and drama and monologues and dance and street evangelism and apologetics and one-to-one and crusade evangelism and everything in between that.
Tell us a little bit about the temperature in Northern Ireland. What's happening on the ground in terms of evangelism?
Yeah, well, we work across the whole island of Ireland, which is two countries. So you've got Northern Ireland and you've got the Republic of Ireland, and they're both very different countries, different culturally, different spiritual temperatures. The Northern Ireland is predominantly, has a really rich kind of Protestant Bible heritage, and every street has a church on it. So there's lots of churches, lots of people have grown up in church, both Protestant and Catholic churches. And so there's an oversaturation almost of Christianity and the Christian message. And so that brings its own challenges. And then in the Republic of Ireland, it's mostly a Catholic country. But even in the Republic of Ireland, there's a big shift culturally where it's become much more secular. People have walked away from the Catholic Church, but still very inherently spiritual people. And what we have found in doing evangelism in all different spheres is that there's still a real hunger to find hope, to find answers to the questions that people are carrying, that even when people are done with church and done with religion, there's something inside of them that's still like there has to be something more.
There's great partnerships being forged, north and south. Historically the countries were quite divided. Now there's much more partnership in terms of churches working together. The next generation growing up, our kids are 16 and 19, so, whether their friends are Protestant or Catholic background, it doesn't matter. And what our young people want is they want truth, and they're not going to get it in the news or social media or from our governments, but you find the truth in Jesus, and they're coming alive to that. It's exciting. I love what God's doing.
What advice would you give to churches, to ministry leaders in how we're going to disciple this generation of young people?
Very simply, the best model for discipleship is to walk people with people. Don't dump information on them. They don't want your 5 points and your 5 books and your 12-week course. They want people. They want community. They want something authentic. I think that, early church, small group is exciting. I think what our leaders need to be careful of too is because there's so many different expressions of Christianity out there, that they don't try to control the narrative and try and control their young people. If you try to control your young people for fear of losing them, you will lose them. You have to just allow them to figure out the charismatic stuff and figure out what's going on, but create the platform where they know as pastor that you love them, you care for them, that this church is a safe place. And if I make mistakes along the way, this is a good place for me to be restored.
Peer discipleship's really important in that. Like what we've seen in working in schools across the island is that where there's Christian groups that have already started and maybe struggled in schools for a while, that as the momentum has grown, as people have started to come to faith, those groups are actually growing in schools. And so peers are now discipling peers. They're befriending in, these people who are coming along and having questions about faith, they're inviting them to church with them. So it's that idea of authentic community, people who are like them, people who are walking in the same spaces as them. So what can we do as church leaders and as churches to really empower our young people to disciple? You know, it doesn't have to be from somebody who's older, but how can we empower our young people, I think, is really important to allow them to be able to disciple their peers too.
Amazing. As parents of a 16 and a 19-year-old, what advice can you give to me as a parent and others out there on how to parent this generation, the gap in between 14 and 19? How do we do that without losing our young people?
You got to model something for them. If they see in you that you love church and that you love Jesus and that God is a God of second chances, and if you're honest with them and they know that you're not perfect and you listen to them and you build relationship with them and you invite them to walk with you on your journey with Jesus, I think that's the best thing that you can do for your young people. And of course, you know, each generation rises and falls in its own choices. So you can be, and we've seen it, you can be the best parent, Christian parent, and have two parents at home or one parent, and still your kids walk away. And then you have other, you know, families and they're a total mess, and God raises them up.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep praying for them because they're just going to face so many challenges that we have never had to face, especially in this digital age. And so, like, even for me, it's trying to be in those digital spaces. It's trying to understand what their challenges are so that when those things come up, that you can help to walk with them in the midst of all of that.
Okay, I want to hear a little bit more about these puppets that you talked about. Schools are so important. Going into schools are so important. How have you been able to open doorways? We often see that seeds are planted as small as primary school age. So yeah, just tell us a little bit more about what you guys are doing in schools.
Thankfully, neither of us do the puppets, so we probably are the puppets. But we got Nathan and Helen who lead our puppet team. They're exceptionally good at what they do, and then our academy students come in and work alongside them. But I guess, you know, some people may be watching this and they go, oh, well, it's Northern Ireland. You know, schools aren't open in England, schools aren't open here, schools aren't open in America. That is not true. It's about building relationships with the schools, and it's about entering those doors with integrity and doing it well. So we've built up a strong reputation because we do it well. And our puppet program is just lots of fun. And it's professional. You know, we've got a 16-foot puppet theater, comes into the school, 3 puppeteers, 1 person up front. They got the TV with the interactive stuff, and the kids laugh their way through it for 20 minutes. But they get a Christian message in it. We're not shy about that. And then we can leave them with resources. And then sometimes we do an after schools program, which is optional, which is a little bit more Christian content than that. We're mindful of where schools are at. So, and then at Christmas, for our kids program, we have a Christmas show at our own venue. So last year we had 1,900 kids. Mm-hmm. There's one school, and the principal came in and he said to me at the back, he said, this is a highlight. This is the highlight of our year for our kids. When they come in and they get to your show, they just love it.
The secondary school work as well is incredible because, you know, as Mitch said, like, yes, we get this open door into schools, and we get to be part of classrooms, we get to be part of teaching a holistic message, but there's a freedom also to run things outside of the school. So our one-way program, maybe I'll go into a school for a couple of weeks and teach classes, we'll teach after schools programs, and then on a Friday night, we'll run an evangelistic event, which is outside of the school hours, and the children are all free to come of their own, their own choice.
Like for the last 15 years in our youth events, we see about 21% response, which is quite high, right? And so I had said to Natalie and the team, if you've got a room set up for 21% response, they said, we've set up for 25. I'm like, great. So we're ready. You're full of faith, you know. So I went upstairs, had coffee, prayer time, and I really felt the Lord saying to me, oh, look at you, Mr. 21%. Lord, I'm just trying to do the follow-up well. And I just felt the Lord saying, Mr. 21%. What if I don't give you anybody? What if I give you everybody? How about you just do what I told you to do and tell them Jesus loves them very much? And for the first time, honestly, in years, Alicia, I got on the platform I didn't know if I was going to see anybody respond at the end. And everybody responded. And it was just our Lord saying, just stick to what I've called you to do. Keep telling them, my son loves them very much. He died for them. He rose again.
Guys, it's been such a pleasure spending time with you.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
I know that we're going to have an open ticket to come and spend some time with you guys in Ireland.
Come and visit us in Ireland.
Anytime,
Come. We'd love
anytime.
to have you. Love to have you.
So we'll look forward to that then.
Bless you.
Visit cbn.uk to learn more and be part of the impact.